You're watching the Southland Conference on ESPN. The winter flexing its muscles in Abilene, Texas a little bit. We've got a volleyball matchup on the way in the Southland. The Lamar Cardinals and the Abilene Christian Wildcats. And welcome inside the studio, everybody. Zach Carlisle alongside Maddie Miller. Glad to have you with us on this Saturday afternoon. And, well, here we go. ACU playing good right now. Lamar struggling a little bit. Looking forward to the matchup here today.
Yeah, you know, ACU's coming off another home win game, played a conference opponent. Lamar has yet to win a game this season. ACU's a young team, and they're figuring out ways to put games together, so it'll be an interesting game tonight. Yeah,
looking forward to watching this thing unfold. You got an ACU team that comes in 3-2 on the year and coming off of a win in 4 sets over McNeese on Thursday. Lamar played 5 times in the fall, and they've opened up 0-2 here in the spring with losses to New Orleans and at SFA on Thursday coming in. So these Cardinals have dealt with some COVID issues as well. And this Lamar roster, these Cardinals coming in, and it's a team that is under first-year head coach Jordan Lay. And you're going to see Briala Box, who's the leader, second of the team in kills this year. Caitlin Gill there leads the team with 55 kills, rather, on the season. And the leader in assists has been Hannah Waters this year. So you're going to see a lot of her from the center position. For Abilene Christian, here's a team, as we mentioned, comes in 3-2 with that win over McNeese. Caitlin Mueller has been the leader so far for the Wildcats. Mueller has been impressive so far for ACU.
Yeah, she for sure has led her team this year. Coming off the injury last year, she's done a great job just stepping back into her role as a leader and just taking care of business on the court.
17 kills per set for Mueller so far this year as they introduce the starting lineups here in Abilene. You're going to see Harris and Mueller and Bree Box right there. They announced the starters. Lindsay Toney, the junior out of New Braunfels, Texas. And they like this youngster, Braden Bozier, the freshman from Fairfield. Coach Angela Mooney saying how much this talent in these younger classes has really taken over. She's never really had recruiting classes like this with this talent and caliber at ACU. She's really excited for the potential. Mackenzie Harris, a sophomore libero. And we should be ready to play some volleyball. I'm excited. This should be a fun game here today.
Yes, I'm very excited. We obviously, like I said, they came off another conference win, and so I'm hoping they just take care of business against Lamar tonight. Yeah,
this is a Wildcat team that is coming off of a 3-1 win over McNeese. And this will be the 10th meeting between ACU and Lamar. And the Wildcats hold a 5-4 edge in this season series, rather the series history. ACU's taken 4 of the last 5 against the Cardinals. We'll see if we can get things started at the Teague Special Events Center. It's a busy day on campus today. Volleyball first, men's basketball coming up at 4 o'clock. As well on ESPN. Cardinals have not only started 0-7, but only twice this year have they played more than their 3 sets. And coming on the road, they've dealt with some COVID, some cancellations. Lamar's ready to get it started. Sam Swayze serves it. ACU on the move, and a 1-0 start.
Good push through by Bozier.
In the middle, these Wildcats with Toney. Bozier setting the tone and setting it up in the middle. Blocker from Fairfield, Texas. And Lamar gets first crack at it. Block error for ACU. Lamar's on the board. But Angela Mooney loves her blockers.
One thing about ACU, they feel like they get a lot of touches on the ball and the blocks. They touch a lot of balls coming back off the hitter. Sometimes it goes out and doesn't fall their way, but they do get their hands on the ball.
So the serve of the Wildcats trying to make something happen. That was Emily Van Dyke, the freshman. They'll try the right side. And ACU takes the lead. And a service error for ACU. Wildcats coming in, they're hitting 179 this season, which is bottom 4 in the Southland Conference. Lamar dead last in the league so far this year, hitting just 118. ACU tries the left side, and it works. Kate Blassingame, the junior transfer from Louisiana Monroe.
She's really been a spark for this team this year. She's a new player, but she's come in and really made a difference this year for sure.
An ACU team that only has just the one transfer in Blassingame. Lamar with 3 transfers this year. It's a couple of really young teams. 13 total freshmen between these two programs. Cardinals try the left side, and it's wide. And Abilene Christian Crow's in front, 4-2. Lamar's plan of attack. ACU answers. Heck of an effort defensively by the Cardinals. And from the back, ACU goes up 3.
It was a good job capitalizing on that free ball sent over.
That's Mueller showing her athleticism. Senior from Sugar Land. And a service ace for ACU. 24th service ace of the season for the Wildcats. Logan Browning gets it started, and Lamar answers. Kayla Newman, the senior out of Idaho, the transfer from North Idaho College. And Haley Moreno will serve it for Lamar. To the left side, Bree Box. Wildcats have looked good early on. ACU up 7-3. And another
There's
deny.
that block.
You said it, they're really strong at the net, aren't they?
Yes, they do a really good job blockers moving side to side.
Take another look at it. Box in there with part of the block. ACU on top early on. Back to Abilene after this. Back at the Teague Center, Abilene Christian in front 8-3. Where the Wildcats have been active on both sides of the ball here, and they will try to go on the move offensively, and it's Kate Mueller and Angela Mooney.
Good
her
spot down
year.
the line.
Fired up for the Wildcats. Coach Mooney, 36 victories. All the way back in her first year in 2017, took this team to the Southland Conference Championship game.
Good dig by Logan.
Mueller again. Wildcats have really been strong, and Kay Mueller has almost been unstoppable for the Wildcats this year. And you mentioned it, she just looks healthy, I think.
Yeah, she's definitely playing with a lot of confidence right now. I think within their team, they have a lot of goals and stuff, and I think they go into every game talking about those, and she's the forefront of that, leading that team into that.
Cardinals have just tried to respond and try to make a little bit of a run. But ACU's hitting 700 so far to start the afternoon. Hannah Waters serves it up for the Cardinals. And she'll set it to her teammate, Kayla Newman. But it's a misfire. I think it was interesting, too, and Coach Mooney has talked about it a little bit, and you and I talked about this before we came on the air, that neither of these teams had the fall. Lamar played 5 games in the fall. ACU did not play in the fall at all and has a ton of freshmen, 7 of them, who got to just learn in the fall instead of having to be thrown right into the fire. I think that makes a huge difference.
Oh, it for sure does, Zach. And I talked a lot to Coach Mooney preseason before just covering the team, and she was super excited and thought that the time in the fall was a big advantage for them, just to be able to train and help the new players learn their system. And it seems to have paid off here early in the spring.
Another timeout. ACU is up 13-4. What a start for the Wildcats. And I think in a game like this, where you come in, you feel like you're the clear favorite in ACU, you want to avoid what some people might call a trap game, but ACU is off to a great start. They have not shown any troubles so far in this first set.
Yes, I agree. I think that they're also putting a lot of pressure on the back line of Lamar with service. I think they're putting a lot of pressure on the service, so I think it's playing out well for them so far.
When you put pressure on that back line from the service, what does that do to the Cardinals and when they're trying to transition into their offense? It makes it challenging for them, doesn't it?
Oh, it for sure does. Getting a pass to the front is super important to start your offense and being able to set up your hitters the way you want to run your offense. So just ACU being able to put that pressure on them to make them make good passes and make good plays definitely keeps the ball coming to their side a little bit easier and lets them capitalize on those free balls.
Mueller with 3 kills. Perfect 3 for 3 so far. ACU serves it up, leading by 9 in the opening set today. That transition looked a lot better for the Cardinals. A good dig the other way. Another block this time off the hands of the Wildcats, and Lamar gets a much-needed 5th point.
Way to follow it to the line.
Service error. That can be tricky because if that stays in, you know, it can be a guessing game sometimes.
Sometimes you just have super confident that it's going to go out and they fall right inside the line. It's just very upsetting, but way to follow it to the line and good watch.
To the middle, go the Cardinals.
Good pancake by Mackenzie Harris.
We're going to try that left side, but ACU denies again and again. Wow.
Wow. Just great blocking by the middle and her right side. Touching a lot of balls up there.
Bozier, Tony up front. And a 10-point lead for ACU. Lamar back to work. Caitlin Gill, the sophomore. Couple of games this year with double-digit kills, 1 double-double. That came all the way back in early September when they opened a year against UL Monroe. That time Lamar blocking well, but the Wildcats come right back. The Cardinals with a much-needed response again, but they just can't seem to make much of a run here.
I think they hit the ball outside the antenna on that one. I think that's the ACU point.
I think you're right. 16-6.
Just another good serve. Lamar's playing out of system right now, and it's really working for the Wildcats.
That time ACU had to scramble, but they recovered nicely. And that one's wide as well from Gill. ACU looks very finely tuned. Back to work. Bozier in the middle.
Happy birthday.
Watch this. Boom. Blasingame got it.
Good roll by Blasingame.
Some of these newcomers, Bozier, the freshman, and Blasingame, the junior transfer, making some noise. Another
Service ace. The pressure that ACU is putting on Lamar right now to pass the ball up front is really well. It's really working for him. It's helping them get a lot of points too.
It's all about placement of serve and you know, how hard you're hitting and service speed. All of that plays a factor, doesn't it? Lamar back to work. But in a dire situation, trailing 20-7, they got a long way to go.
ACU is doing a really good job of picking up balls off the hustle plays, tips off the block and everything. Keeping the ball off the ground.
Now Lamar sets it up. The middle worked last time, not this time. Three box back out there. And box at 6'2". Bozier at 6'2".
Good block again.
Just how important is it to be so strong at the net?
Oh, it's so important. Reading your setter is the hardest part about being in the middle, trying to figure out where they're going to place the ball and being there on time to make sure that you can protect your back row, but ACU seems to be all over it today.
That's well done on the attack. Briala Box, the senior from Irving, Texas, wants to be a volleyball coach when she is done in college and moving on up. Second on the team at 47 kills coming in to today. ACU goes back to Blasingame on that left side and a misfire. ACU hitting .500. Lamar negative .040.
Good block. There it is again.
Unreal. Take another look at it. Lamar tries to set it up. No, sir. Oxentoni that time. The other box, Briala Box for the Cardinals. Malaysia Murdoch out there, the sophomore from Arlington, number 13. She had 3 blocks in the year, does Murdoch. All of them came against UNO.
Good attack by Mueller from the back row. Just the hustle plays. Oh, she didn't get the free ball to go. Darn.
You're seeing it, though. ACU, a couple of pancakes, a couple of times fighting towards the sideline and keeping the ball in play.
Just scrambling to keep the ball off the floor.
Murdoch on the right side. ACU goes back to Mueller.
Man.
And ACU will have set point. And a very impressive first set from Abilene Christian today. First set point.
Another out-of-system ball, out.
And ACU dominates the opening set and takes it 25-11. Set 2 on the way from Abilene, Texas on ESPN. Back in Abilene, Texas, Jordan Lay in his first year with the Lamar Cardinals, hired in January of 2020, thinking maybe go into the fall of 2020 and having a real season. Well, it's been nothing close to a normal season this year, and finally playing the Southland Conference schedule here in the spring. It's been 4 seasons as an associate head coach at Wofford. Was at West Alabama, Division II for 3 years as well. First year with the Cardinals. Southland Conference volleyball here on ESPN+. Zach Carlisle along with Maddie Miller. Glad to have you with us on this Saturday afternoon and a snowy day in Abilene. We've had some bad weather settle in and didn't seem to affect ACU, where the Wildcats looked impressive in that first set, winning 25-11. They were clicking on all cylinders, weren't they?
Yeah, Zach, they were starting the pressure with service and then picking up balls that just weren't off tips and off blocks, just not letting the ball touch the ground. And the blocking was, I think, stood out to me the most. They just were not letting that ball come across the net. Great job by Bree Box and Bozier.
Yeah, 4 blocks in that first set for Abilene Christian. But Lamar gets off to a good start here in the second set. This was an interesting matchup a year ago between these two. Lamar won 3-1 in Beaumont during the 2019 season, so I guess it really wasn't a year ago. It's more like a year and a half ago as ACU goes on the move here.
You don't want to send that first ball over the net, not when you have Bozier on the other side.
My goodness. You got, and so last year in October, 2019 in October, Lamar won 3 sets to 1. ACU then responded with a win in 5, but trailed 2-0 in that whole match against the Cardinals, winning sets 3, 4, and 5 to come back and get it done. And ACU back-to-back points to take the lead.
Great set by Madison Rohr. Close to the net, tied off, throw it back. Great read by Lindsay Toney.
Toney, 12 kills the other day, season high.
Another tip off the block.
Back to work again on the right side. ACU up 3-1. "28 attacks today, 13 kills for the Wildcats." Toney had that kill, now the service mistake. The Cardinals get a helper point.
I don't know if they've had too many of those. We haven't given them too many points.
Backline Mueller again. Diving effort did not work out. The point for Lamar. Briala Box, an impressive senior for the Cardinals. Started well over 60 matches in her career. Blasting game denied. Talk about working the net. That time Lamar does a good job.
Yeah, that's one thing. You have athletic blockers on the other side. We can block on our side, but they're going to get up and put one down on our side too.
Box was in there with Tatiana Johnson, a freshman in Little Elm, Texas. But ACU back at it, evens it at 4.
I don't think that DS saw that coming.
Sometimes throw in a surprise or two.
Right. Another out-of-system ball. Lamar seems to come out with a little bit more energy this set.
Left side. Box. Soft touch that time.
Yeah, it was a good find, a good spot by Box. Get your back line sucked down thinking they're going to hit it in your face again and just whoop, right over the block.
Blasingame. Lamar from the back line with Gill.
I think they called somebody in the net.
Yeah, they almost had to. 6'5" Lamar. That's where it can be kind of hard to tell from our angle if, you know, we're back here in the studio to see when they call that kind of stuff. Gill from the left side. Blasingame from ACU's left side. Back to Gill. Lamar with a 2-point lead. I think it's their largest at all here today.
For sure starting out a little stronger than they did the first set.
Right. You're right, though. It feels like they really brought the energy that they didn't have in set one. Another deny. That's Briala Box. It's amazing what an end of a set into a second set can do to just reset everything.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta lose pretty bad and then come out with refocused energy.
I thought that was in for Box, and sure enough it was. Kind of late putting the point up there, but they got it. Yep, 8-6. To the middle.
Great turn by Box. As a middle, when you're coming in with your shoulders squared to your setter. So turning that ball to hit back at the setter on the other side is tough sometimes. But Box really does a great job of that.
Great placement by Gill. Put the Cardinals back up 2. And Box serves it, and away we go.
I think ACU might need to clean up their serve receive just a little bit. Last set they had a lot of, most of their balls were going to the front, and they're allowed to run they were able to run their system wherever they wanted, but they're kind of keeping the balls off the net. It's making it harder to hit hitters where they want to hit them. Might be the reason they're down a few points.
Gill on the left. Mueller.
Good run through by Harris.
And Bozier misfires. Bozier hitting 200 for the day so far. Mueller again.
I don't know what the call is
I
there.
was just thinking the same thing. Everything looked clean from a distance, but
It looked like he called double, but I thought she used one hand.
service ace. One of the strengths of the Cardinals, top 5 in the Southland in aces this year. Young season. Mueller has struggled a little more here in this set, but
Looked like that block was in the net.
ACU gets a break. And you figure just the team that limits the mistakes the most will have a pretty good chance, and Lamar is trying to take advantage a little bit.
Block.
Gill.
I think that's one thing about volleyball, Zach. Volleyball is a big, like, don't score points for the other team. You know, you want to score as many points for your team and not be the reason the other team's scoring points.
Well, Gill's been active for the Cardinals on that left side. This was nice. ACU's been so good at the net, it was maybe a little intimidating for Lamar at times. But then the Cardinals trying to block, and an error. Well,
a little antenna malfunction.
Gotta get it fixed, and they do.
Yeah, looks like they got it back lined up.
Call that a technical difficulty. Here we go. Didn't seem to faze Lamar. Amber Johnson. A freshman out of Cedar Hill, Texas. We mentioned it. Lamar all year has only played in 2 of their 7 sets, and they've only gotten 2 of the 7 matches to a 4th set. So this feels like an important one for the Cardinals, leading by 3 right now, but ACU answers.
Tip from the back line by Kate Mueller. It's so good to be versatile back there because everybody thinks you're just coming in hard to hit it from the back row, but being able to tip it from that far behind the 10-foot line and really throws the defense off.
And you figure, talking about Mueller, we talked about how she looks healthy again, and she did. She injured her knee in the first match of the season in 2019. So just when you're coming in, ready to go, and then your season ends just like that. And then she ended up actually coming back somehow and playing in 6 matches at the end of the year after blowing out her knee. She had played in over 100 sets each of the previous 2 seasons. And then to have that injury and now has come back and has had plenty of time and feels as good as she's ever felt.
Yeah, that time with COVID and everything might have been a blessing in disguise just to be able to get her confidence back in her body, because when you have a knee injury or something like that puts you out for a long time, like coming back with confidence can be really hard. So I think she's done a great job and has utilized her time to be able to come back and be the strong leader and player that she was before.
Lamar with a 15-14 lead. We got a close one here in set 2 after it was all ACU in set 1. Back in a flash. Well, set 1 wasn't quite as entertaining, but set 2 has been back and forth, and Lamar leading 15-14. This feels like, I kind of briefly touched on it earlier, this feels like a huge second set for Lamar. Obviously, you don't want to go down 0-2, but to give them any confidence on the road, they could even this thing up at 1 and force at least a 4-set opportunity today. That'd be big for the Cardinals.
Yeah, they've definitely come out with more energy this set, and I appreciate it. Like, they haven't won a game this season, and they're still trying to come out and play with energy and try to get points any way that they can, and it's definitely making for a more interesting game.
ACU an opportunity. Heck of a dig by Swayze.
Yeah.
ACU on the right side answers, and we are even at 15. Lindsay Toney. Smooth.
Very smooth. She does a great job at hitting that spot every time. That's a hard ball to get to.
6 players for the Wildcats at least 6 feet or taller.
Wow, good dig by Mackenzie Harris.
And too far past the back line. And ACU jumps in front.
I think Mackenzie threw her whole body with one arm under that ball. Very impressive.
Talking about giving everything you have.
Right? That's the type of energy they need, though, to get back up in this set. Another block. Again.
This has been crazy impressive to watch at the net.
Both teams, too, especially this set, both teams have been getting their hands on a lot of balls at the net.
Another one.
Oh, man. That one was not returnable.
My goodness, serenading the freshman from Austin got in there.
Great timing.
Wow.
They're just moving in sync.
Forces a timeout at ACU in front.
The blockers, when you watch the replays, they're just moving really in sync with each other, causing good timing, and there's just not much you can do about that when the ball's coming back at you that fast.
All of a sudden, a 3-point lead for Abilene Christian after on a quick 4-0 scoring run. 6 blocks today for ACU. And a 3-point lead. And, you know, for the two of us, we've been around this ACU volleyball program for a few years now and just seeing it develop and grow. And this is as athletic of a team I've seen here for Abilene Christian.
For sure, and I think we've talked a lot with Coach Mooney. She's talked about how this is like finally her team. Like every player on the roster is pretty much a player that she's brought in or wanted here, and just being able to train the way she wants to train them and stuff. And so I think her system is finally starting to play around and hitting all 6 cylinders on the court.
I think that gets lost a little bit in coaching when people talk about coaching and in the fact that you come into a college program and that first year might not be any of the players that you brought in. The year after that, it might be a handful.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
It starts to grow and all. You know, so it takes 4 or 5 years before you're even getting a complete team that is everyone you've brought in to play. And I think that gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. Blasingame on the left side.
Nice little hustle play by both teams.
Good recovery from the Cardinals to stop the 4-0 run.
Like you said, like she's recruited most of these players, and they're also young, and all they can do is get better. And man, they have a lot of time to do it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you figure this will be a little more of an interesting offseason going into next fall with the playing in the spring, but the fact that we got to see a volleyball season at all, we'll also don't take that for granted. Weren't sure what it was going to be when you push a couple of sports from the fall into the spring and everything's up in the air, a lot of questions. And
definitely makes a lot of other people busy for sure.
Right. No, and then you figure, you know, you're not even in your own arena, but you're playing in the Teague Center, a temporary facility, the home of volleyball and men's and women's basketball for 1 year for ACU.
And you have to give credit to all the people that have made that happen too, because think about it, you have 3 teams needing to play in here in one spring, the practice schedules that come with that, like teams having to work around each team. Everybody's done a great job with that, I think, this year.
ACU up 2, Mueller. Got it.
That was a rocket.
Explosive. She can do it from the left, the right, from the back. You put Kate Mueller anywhere, good things are going to happen.
She's going to find a way to score for sure.
ACU the first to 20, up by 3. They recovered nicely. Lamar, I thought, It's going to go on a nice little run here, and now all of a sudden the Wildcats back up 3.
Yeah, they had a good little timeout, and they came back up and went on a little run. I think it's definitely turned over the energy for their side. They're starting to click back with each other and pick up hustle balls and get their hands on the block, and I think it's really turning out for them.
Lamar, 15 attack errors today. Here's the Wildcats' schedule coming up. Next week off, but then Nichols at home on ESPN Plus on February the 25th. SFA, one of the premier teams in volleyball in the Southland, will be in Abilene on the 27th of February before going to southeastern Louisiana. Well, if you like Southland volleyball, look no further than what they do down there in Nacogdoches, Texas. SFA, one of the top teams, 15-4 on the year. They've won 5 straight, 3-0 to start Southland play. That one we'll have on ESPN Plus as well. A busy spring, no doubt. And ACU serves it up, leading by 3, 20-17. Gill had some
look
challenges.
at the hustle play. Oh.
Wow. It didn't work out, but what an effort.
Yeah, great hustle by Blasingame. Threw her body under that ball to get it back up.
Watch this. Good attempt by Logan Browning, too, to shoot it across. Just couldn't get it high enough. I'll just go back to old reliable, huh?
Made up for it. That's one good thing in volleyball, though. I think they didn't get that last point off the hustle play, but like knowing that your teammates are playing with that intensity and getting touches on those balls definitely translates into next possessions. Nice little short serve.
It makes you want to go play that hard. The next opportunity to score. Why not back to Mueller? Not the best chance for Johnson. Got it across. Bozier in the middle. Murdoch for Lamar finishes that off.
Lamar's trying to wheeze their way back into it a little bit, looks like. Not giving up easy.
Trying to guarantee that we at least play 4, but they're down 2.
Another great move to the line.
Wow.
I admire people that have that much confidence to just run back with the ball and just watch it slowly go out of bounds. Mackenzie Harris is really good about that too. She's got a real nose for the ball.
To the right side, Lamar answers. Tatiana Johnson. Trying to hang around, down 22-20. But they can't trade points here anymore. They're going to have to go on a bit of a run. Swayze serves.
Good pass.
Blasingame.
Didn't look too pretty, but it worked.
Sometimes it's just the end result, right?
That's all that matters sometimes, especially in a set like this.
This has been a fight to the end on both sides.
It's a Lindsay Tony.
Now all of a sudden, ACU a chance to take a 2-0 lead. It's the first set point of the second set. And Abilene Christian does not back down. Set 1 was simple. Set 2, they had to work harder, but they're up 25-20, and they are up 2-0 in the set in Abilene. Abilene Christian up 2-0 as we get ready for the third set here in Abilene. Wildcats and Cardinals here on ESPN+. Welcome into the studio, Zach Carlisle and Maddie Miller. And I tell you, Lamar gave ACU everything they had in that second set, but the Wildcats still win it to 20. It was an impressive showing from ACU.
Yeah, it really was. They started off and kind of just had a ball that didn't bounce their way a little bit, but seemed to pick it back up after one of their timeouts, went on a little run, and got control back of the game, and it really worked out for them in the end.
Yeah, that first set was all Abilene Christian, winning at 25-11. But then 25-20, Lamar made a nice little run. ACU was able to pull away with the final 3 points of the set. Now leading 2-0. This puts a lot of pressure on Lamar, doesn't it, here in the third set?
Oh, for sure. I've just been most impressed with the blocking on both sides. ACU has just gotten their hands on a lot of balls. Even if they haven't blocked it and kept it on their side, it's just definitely been a big effort by the front row to try to get touches for their back line. And Lamar, too. Lamar's gotten their hands on a lot of balls as well. So I don't know what Lamar's game plan is going to be coming out 0-2, but definitely will hopefully see them bring out the energy like they did that last set and see if they can keep it interesting.
A couple of the big things that stand out. You mentioned the blocks. ACU up 7-1 in that category. And then just hitting percentage flat out. ACU hitting .350 for the day, and Lamar .090. I mean, those are clearly two things that have been a determining factor in this one. And we'll see how set 3 begins. It's kind of a mindset game at this point. Lamar's just fighting to stay around, and ACU really would like to close this thing out in 3 sets. You don't want to have to mess around and go to set 4 or, mess around and go lead in set 5.
Yeah, you want to just get out here and take care of business as fast as possible. But like we said, it's all about not scoring points for the other team. Like, you want to go out there and take care of your possessions and not give them points too. So see how ACU handles that this set.
Hannah Waters serves it up for the Cardinals. ACU goes right to Kate Mueller. What else is new? It's Mueller and a 1-0 lead for ACU.
She just finds ways to score. Sometimes it's not even off a big kill. Like, it's just the way she hits the ball off the block or just tipping it and finding the open space on the floor. She just does a really good job and is efficient with scoring the volleyball.
There's ACU at the net again. It's a clinic right now.
Textbook. Coach Mooney loves to see it. Yeah, I'm sure they work on practicing blocks every day in practice and footwork and timing, and just to come out here and get this many blocks and get touches on the ball like that really shows and pays off.
And Lamar gets on the board with Malaysia Murdoch, a sophomore. Comes from a very athletic family. Her dad, Marchie Sr., played basketball for Arkansas State, and her brother, Marchie Jr., played football for Iowa State.
Wow. Great hustle by Madison Rohr. Just turned out to a great play.
Let's take a look. Keeps it alive, and Tony finishes.
Lindsay Tony didn't care where that ball was coming from. She was going to put it down.
Nice response from Murdoch.
You got to love setters that just don't give up on the play.
I don't think good setters get talked enough about at this level. What they do. That was Reebok's a recipient of a good assist.
It's very true. You have hitters that can hit the 10-foot line, but it doesn't matter if the setter can't put the ball where it needs to be. Judging by our hitting percentage right now, I think our setters are doing a pretty good job of clicking with our hitters.
Just a guess, right? Yeah.
Just an analytical.
It's fun to watch that and happen when it's synchronized and all hitting on all cylinders. It's really fun to watch. Misfire from Amber Johnson.
Trying to hit around that block. She doesn't want to hit through it anymore.
That'd be intimidating a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been incredible at the net, and then every time you try to hit it, you know something's not going to go your way, more than likely. That time it did go their way in the middle from Briala Box.
Well, and they're hitting it super hard, but when you hit it super hard and comes back in your face even harder sometimes.
A few times, yeah. Well done in the middle.
Kate Mueller from the back
Oh
row.
my gosh.
She's just finding a way to get it done.
We need to find out the miles per hour on that. That is just crazy. There she goes again. Well done by Lamar. Boy, that's great hustle from the Cardinals. That's Box in the middle. But ACU does its thing at the net.
I just can't talk about these blocks enough. I'm just genuinely impressed. It's just the synchronization and the timing for all of these balls in the air. It's just really working for them. Free ball. Good tip per ball.
Good hustle from Blasingame.
Yeah. Talk about blocks. There's one for Lamar.
Boy, Lamar at times has shown some spurts of some really good volleyball. They just haven't been able to put it all together here today. And they're going up against a good ACU team for sure.
For sure. They're just having a lot of unforced errors off the block and serve-receive errors and defensive errors. But when you have Kate Mueller out there hitting the ball off the block and scoring at will, it's really hard to get into momentum.
It almost felt like Lamar coming in had to play perfect. I mean, you can't make any of these mistakes to give ACU any points. And then when that does, inevitably happen a little bit, all of a sudden the Wildcats can pull away and they're up 8-4 here.
Like you said, you just don't want to score points for the other team. And Lamar's kind of struggled with that these first early sets.
And hitting 080
doesn't help either.
Does not help either. ACU trying to build its second winning streak of the season. Briala Box.
Mackenzie Harris threw herself for that one. Just didn't look like she got a touch on it.
And now Box will serve for the Cardinals.
I appreciate them trying to be aggressive.
It just has felt like they've been out of sorts a lot on offense and in particular in transition.
Well, I don't think their passing has been super good off serve receive and off defense, and so they're running a lot of out-of-system stuff. And then when you have a huge block that just keeps touching everything, it's just really hard to get an offensive flow.
So then you get a point here and there, and once again, but then ACU is going to come back, and then you're struggling at the net, and it's just
Kate Mueller's going to score.
Right. Right.
And it's very defeating.
Waters serves.
Good back. Another out-of-system ball for Lamar.
Try Gill on the left side.
Send it.
Wow. Oh, that did not think it would work out for the Wildcats, but it does.
That was just a smart play. That's just core IQ.
The ACU shoots it across left to right. And back in comes Amber Johnson. 10-7. Johnson got it through that time.
Tough roll for ACU. Touch on the block and just rolls right off the back of him.
Yep, right through Bozier. Blasingame. And Johnson.
Good block coverage.
Bozier from the middle.
Just a standout young freshman. She really has been like a spark for this team this year. And she plays with so much confidence. When I watch her play, I don't feel her as like having freshman energy.
Yeah, rare to see someone come in and not play like an 18-year-old who just, came off the high school ranks, Fairfield High School in Fairfield, Texas.
She plays with so much confidence, and it's really made a difference for this ACU team. She gets her hands on a lot of balls and just has a lot of points, whether it be off blocks or off tips, just finding ways to score too.
A 12-9 ACU lead. Coach Mooney really feels like she has found a rotation she really likes with this group. Feels like she's got some good depth and some athletic players and lots of options at her disposal. ACU up by 4. Logan Browning serving it, the sophomore from Wichita Falls, Texas.
Good deep serve.
Off the hands of Mueller. 10th point for the Cardinals. Lamar has looked a lot better in sets 2 and 3, no question. Keeping it close.
Yeah, I would definitely say that they're still they're not giving up, and you can see like when they score when we give them points like that, like they're trying to bring the energy up and talking to each other. Definitely not giving up by any means. Service error.
But what a week for Lamar to have to, go on the road at SFA on Thursday and then come to Abilene for this one. They're going to go back home for 2 next week. Sam Houston and Northwestern State. ACU trying to close it out, leading 15-11, up 2-0 on Lamar. Back to Abilene after this. Third set, ACU leading Lamar. Cardinals have Sam Houston coming to town on the 20th in Beaumont, Texas. Northwestern State at home as well before heading to Conway to open up March against Central Arkansas. And these Cardinals have dealt with COVID and postponements and cancellations. They played some in the fall. They've already had a couple moved here in the spring, and maybe you're not always playing a Thursday and a Saturday. Maybe you have to play on a Monday or a Tuesday. I mean, dealing with all of that can be incredibly challenging in this year, unlike any we've ever seen.
Yeah, this is for sure an unprecedented year, and it's hard, honestly, because one day you're preparing to play for a game, and the next day you're sitting at home for 2 weeks and not practicing with your team and not active out. Like it's definitely a challenge that pretty much every team, I would venture to say, has dealt with this year. And so just a lot of adversity, and how you handle that adversity through those quarantine times definitely probably translates into your play when you come back. But it's definitely hard to sit at home for 2 weeks and be out of sorts.
Yeah, that can affect the psyche of everyone. You know, even an example like on Thursday when McNeese came to Abilene Christian for that matchup, McNeese was without their top 2 hitters who all of a sudden had tested and were in the contact trace and had been in the positives for COVID, and all of a sudden you don't have your top 2 on the outside and you have to go on the road and play. I mean, good luck. I mean, I'm not saying there's no way to win, but when the deck is stacked against you like that, it can be really challenging.
That's one of the things that's the hardest for teams, I think, depending on when people get COVID, depends on if they're testing or not with Tier 1. And so if your 5 starters are testing and one person gets COVID, then all 5 starters are going into quarantine, but your bench has just had it, and so your whole bench is going to play if you have enough people to put on the court. And so things like situations with McNeese, I'm sure that was not how they wanted to play their game. But unfortunately, with COVID and everything, that's the kind of year we're having right now.
Yeah, it's just wild, no question. So Lamar playing its 3rd conference match, ACU in its 4th. And
service ace.
Another ace.
I love seeing service pressure. I think it definitely makes the game more interesting. Just trying to keep the other team out of system and not playing it safe. Serving to score instead of serving to put the ball into play.
We've seen it from a lot of Wildcats, but in particular, Mackenzie Harris has been a big part of that service pressure.
Every game, I feel like she does a really good job of trying to put on the service pressure. And then look, there we go. They play out of system, and then we get a point.
Yeah, well.
Just works. And then she gets to serve again.
Yeah, guess who scored for ACU? No other than Kate Mueller at another timeout called.
I wonder what you're saying with your Lamar coach, like trying to get points, trying to find ways to score, hit around blocks, stop Kate Mueller. What are you telling your team right now?
That's the checklist, and right now none of those boxes are checked right now for the Cardinals.
They are playing hard, though.
They are. They're in a tough spot. Young, new coach, COVID season is just a lot going on for the Cardinals, no question. And
like you said, they're young. They have to just learn how to win.
Right.
ACU's actually done a really good job, I feel like, this season. They started off with 2 non-conference season games against UTA and lost the first day, and then came back and figured out how to win the second day. Both games going to 5 sets. So, like, just young teams just trying to figure out how to win. One thing good is Lamar hasn't given up yet, so they have potential to stay in games and stuff.
you know, Lamar, young but inexperienced. ACU, young but a little more experienced. Even the sophomores have had a full year plus to, under their belt. And then the freshmen obviously had the full semester, and Lamar played in the fall, and they've only played a few times here in the spring, and it's been a little more challenging. ACU,
another service ace for Mackenzie Harris.
She has been on fire today. Sophomore out of Tennessee. Also has a team high 13 digs.
I think that 14.
Keep adding the total.
Right.
Middle and deep. And it's starting to feel like the wheels may be coming off for Lamar here in this final, not final, but potentially final third set.
I'm just proud of ACU for just trying to find ways out of their ruts when they got into a couple of sections where Lamar went on a few runs, scored a couple points in a row. They were able to dial it back and get back into their offense and find ways to score.
Yeah, never felt like ACU was rattled when that happened. And Harris back to doing her thing. ACU is on a 6-0 run, leading by 9. Until now.
It's okay. You can score 6 points in this one. Just that confidence running back to the line as it runs out.
And 3 points away are the Wildcats from their second straight victory. And now they'll have 12 days off before their next one against Nichols. And I imagine, going into a week-long break of no games feels much better when you won the previous 2 before. If you would have worked to go 0-2 and then have to have a week off before you can get out on the court again, that might not have been as much fun.
It for sure would not be. And it also gives them time, like in practice, to work on things. Like they can watch film and figure out what they could have done better and work on those and drill that in practice instead of just worrying about having to scout for the team that they're playing in the next few days.
You know, the scheme is important. Your system, making sure you're running it and doing everything correctly and being sound and buttoned up. But the effort, something you can't always coach out of athletes, and this team is full of it. There is no lack of effort on this Wildcat team.
Way to keep the ball in play by Lamar.
Well, this has been good volleyball here.
Yeah, nice little volley going back and forth.
And the Wildcats finish it. That was really well played on both sides.
Kate Mueller.
Who else, right? And now she will serve it.
Good serve.
Lamar trying to pull a rabbit out of their hat, but down 8. ACU's a point away from serving the match point. And Caitlin Gill serves it for the Cardinals. And there will be the first match point, and the serve will come from Braden Bozier. This has been fun today, hasn't it?
Yes, very fun. Very exciting to see the Wildcats take care of business early, not try to play around and play down to the level of their opponent. They've played well too. Good hitting percentage, lots of blocks, touches, service pressure. All around good game for the Wildcats today.
Yeah, hitting percentage of .330. 9 blocks. Impressive showing, for sure. Second match point. Blasting game, blocked. But Lamar's still a long way to go.
Interesting time for them to go on a run.
Yeah. They don't want it to end just yet. Third match point. And that will be the dagger for Abilene Christian. Blasting game finishes it down. Abilene Christian wins it 25-17 and wins in straight sets today. This has been a presentation of the Southland Conference on ESPN. All games airing on the ESPN networks or streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. Until next time, Zach Carlisle, Maddie Miller, the whole crew, led by Hutton Harris, saying so long, take care from Abilene, Texas.